Welcome to our program for this Saturday, January 15th. I'm Paul Ortiz, as Elton John used to sing, Saturday. Beautiful time to be here in Laguna Woods Village. We only have a couple of things we want to share with you today. We want to tell you that on our program today, Sterling Financial Advisors will be sitting down with Lisa and talking about the financial market here in 2022. The last few weeks have been kind of a rough start for us in 2022, unless you're a short. And Dan Ohlweiler is going to be talking to Lisa about, what's going on with our financial market. Dan has been a longtime sponsor, of course, of Village Television and has more of a prudent practice. So I think you'll find his information pretty important. Also, the Shuffleboard Club, they're located over there in Clubhouse 2. And Laura Dialek and John Moran will be joining Lisa, and they're going to be talking about the Shuffleboard Club. That club has been here probably since the origination of our community. Shuffleboard obviously in the early 60s and through the 70s was very popular. And then it kind of faded a little bit. But what we're learning from the club members is it's starting to grow again. Terrific group out there and a lot of fun. And it's easy too. You don't have to have a lot of equipment. Just show up and enjoy the time with the rest of them there. And of course, we'll be bringing you our 2022 resolutions. Well, let's take a look real quick outside. It's going to be a cloudy day again, and temperatures will be again in the 70s and 50s for the next week or so. Our temperatures today for this Saturday is going to be mostly cloudy throughout the day. 75 is going to be our high and 54 overnight. And we're going to have some more clouds for the next couple of days, 72 degrees tomorrow and 50 overnight. And then Monday, temperature is going to cool off just a little bit to 67 degrees, and then that overnight temperature stays pretty calm there at 51 degrees. Let's take a look at our travel weather. We have a terrific list of places to go. Our local beaches will be 70 degrees, probably have that marine layer and some overcast, 55 overnight. Santa Barbara, beautiful, 65 degrees. And if you're heading south to San Diego, 70 degrees and nice temperatures of 53 overnight. You see Tahoe is starting to actually warm up a little bit, 45 degrees and 22 overnight. And it was interesting, Mammoth, last week when I was with you on Saturday, the overnight temperature was 7 degrees. So now it's a balmy 20 degrees overnight. And then Big Bear is 55 degrees and 31. Palm Springs, beautiful temperatures out there, 73 and 56. And then if you're traveling to Las Vegas, 64 degrees, kind of a chilly overnight, 44 degree temperature. So nice temperatures throughout the surrounding areas. And if you get a chance, get out there and enjoy many of the things that happen here in Southern California. Look at that picture there from Cole Young. I'll let you look at that for a little bit. That is Boise, Idaho. And beautiful picture there, Cole. Our sunrise right there is 6:54 a.m. Beautiful picture of the moon there. And then that hilltop sunset is 5:07 p.m. this evening. If you have a picture, be sure and share it with us. We'd love to see it. Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. You don't have to be Ansel Adams to send us a picture, but I'm sure you have some wonderful photos you've taken in your travels. And be sure and email them to us at lagunawoodsvillagetv at gmail.com. Well, we'll be back with more of our program and Lisa Hart right after this.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Dan Ohlweiler here on behalf of Sterling Financial Advisors. Well, how are you?
Good to see you, Lisa.
Good to see you,
Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
I did. I had a great Thanksgiving, and of course, we're coming up on the holidays, and the New Year's right around the corner.
Right.
And interesting news that you can help share with us is that recently, Social Security, the percentage and the amount has been increased.
Cost of living.
Cost of living has been increased. So, I wish kind of the employers would sort of take that into consideration as well.
Right. Yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to talk a little bit about the history of the cost of living increases. It only started the cost of living adjustments for Social Security only started in 1975.
Okay.
So prior to that, it came about in 1944 with President Roosevelt. He instituted right after the Great Depression, and everybody was struggling with things. And Social Security was meant for a safety net for those that didn't have enough money. It wasn't meant to us to retire on. But ever since 1944 up until 1972, actually, it was kind of on the whims of Congress to give adjustments to the benefits. In 1970, when we went off the gold standard, inflation started to really kick in.
Right.
And so Congress decided to pass the Social Security COLA law,
Okay.
which went into effect in 1975.
Okay.
And so 1975 is when the first cost of living adjustment came into play.
Okay.
And during that time, we can see, you know, in the late 70s, early 80s, when Jimmy Carter, and we all remember those inflationary years, gas lines and things like that.
Right.
You know, I think one year was over 14% cost of living adjustment.
Yeah.
Well, that was crazy, you know. And after Carter left, Reagan came in and kind of got inflation under control. And
Right.
over that last few years, you know, it hasn't been too bad. But we're seeing that today, you know.
Well, then maybe we should see more than 5.9, because as we are going through these months, I mean, we're looking at gas prices way higher,
Yeah,
and certainly higher in California.
Unfortunately, how Social Security determines cost of living, they exclude certain items.
I see.
One of them is Medicare premiums. Medicare premiums, if they go up, they take that out in determining cost of living adjustments. And so there are 3 or 4 things that are conveniently left out of the cost of living adjustment. You and I, you know, year and a half, 2 years ago, were paying $3 a gallon for gas.
Right.
Now it's almost $5 a gallon.
Exactly.
You know, and
Right.
and so we're looking at, you know, some things aren't included in the cost of living. However, this 5.9% that they're going to be getting this next year is the largest increase in 4 decades.
Right.
I mean, you go back, I think we have
Yeah.
a chart here that goes back to the beginning of 1975. And I think in the last 4 decades, I think there was one that's 5.8, but I think in 4
Right.
decades.
That was 2008, but that was when we had all that housing stuff happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think on my chart, I think since 1975, over the last 47 years, the cost of living adjustment has been, you know, 3.6% or something.
Is that like on average?
Yeah, on average over the last 45 years. Over the last 20 years, I think it's been 2.3. Over the last 10 years, it's 2.6 or 2.3. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think that it's important that people don't count on the 5.9% overall,
Right.
depending upon what inflation does.
Right.
And the government or the administrations obviously have things that they can do to impact inflation.
Well, exactly.
They have different approaches about doing that.
Right.
You know, energy, interest rates, those things like that. But the purchasing power of Social Security has lost about 40%. It hasn't kept up with inflation because of the Medicare premiums are excluded from that, and there's a lot of things. In our projections, we only use a 1% cost of living, just because anything over and above that is kind of candy on the cake as far as our projections go. We don't want to use a 5% cost of living adjustment to Social Security in our projections, because it may or may not come into play.
Right.
There were some years that was even zero.
Right.
I think 2015 it was zero.
Yes.
That we had cost of living adjustments.
Right.
So
Right.
we didn't get anything, but that doesn't mean prices still didn't go up.
It may not have, well, yes, but it may not have been as needed as it is these days. One thing that you mentioned, that Social Security should not be looked at, you know, as something that we're relying on to live on.
Unfortunately,
but lots
about
of people are.
50% of retirees depend on Social Security as their main source
Right.
of income in retirement, and that's nationwide. That's not everywhere, but but it was never meant to do that.
Yeah.
It was meant to be kind of a safety net for those people that, and you know, politicians have made promises over the year that our Social Security would never be taxed. You know, Well, the problem with that is those politicians died and new ones came in.
Exactly.
And so we've got a new set of politicians. Going off the gold standard impacted our inflation because our dollar is only guaranteed by the promise of the U.S. government versus the gold that they had backing it.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that come into play, and in our retirement planning, Social Security should be a part of that.
Yeah.
But based upon the numbers, they say it's going to run out in 2033.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's probably going to go down as our cost of living increases continue to go, and the Social Security fund starts to get depleted more quickly.
Right.
The other impact is going to be how many baby boomers are retiring in the next decade.
Right.
They say 80 million of us are going to be retiring in the next decade, going from paying into Social Security to collecting Social Security.
Right.
And so that's going to impact it quite a bit as well. So
Exactly.
when it first started, I think we discussed, some time back, that when Social Security first came into play, there was about 40 employees supporting one person on Social Security. Now it's 3. So the number of people supporting a benefit has dropped from 40 to 3.
Right.
And so it's just, something's going to hit the fan here pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's very concerning for most of our seniors who are relying on that. So
Right.
we appreciate you giving us a good overview.
Well, it's not an exciting thing, but cost of livings are always good for Social Security
Exactly.
benefits and retirees, and I thought it would be good to have a history on that.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
Hey, good to be here.
All right.
All right.
And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, we have John and Laura here on behalf of the Shuffleboard Club. Well, welcome the two of you. How are you today? Great.
Fine, thanks.
Good, good. Well, I have only played shuffleboard once, and so I know there's a lot of things that we need to know about it. I've also played bocce ball and a few other things that seem similar in nature, but certainly not the same. But before we get into the play itself, tell me a little bit about the club. Go ahead, John.
Well, I guess the club has been around a long time, since the village started, I guess. And it used to be thousands. The membership used to be 1,000. There used to be like 30 leagues. People were just booked wall to wall. But for some reason, over the years, the attendance has dropped off. And I think the reason for that level of attendance is that shuffleboard is, from my perspective, just a natural fit with Laguna Woods Village. It just has just so many characteristics that just fit perfectly into our environment.
Well, so, shuffleboard, you do have some activity in terms, like if someone really couldn't do a whole lot of strenuous activity, right?
Exactly.
And you have maybe an older person that maybe can't do the pickleball or the tennis or all these other kinds of really strenuous activities, this might be a choice for them, right?
Absolutely. We have several members that are in their 90s.
Wow.
Yep.
And they do just wonderfully. We have one gentleman who's had knee surgery and then hip surgery, and he's back.
Wow.
When he couldn't play, he came and watched because he just
nice.
couldn't stand to be away. And he's on one of the little videos I said, I don't know if we'll be seeing it, but it's a good sport for people who aren't that flexible to get down. I know bocce ball and lawn bowling, you have to kind of get in a certain, I've only done each one once, position to make it happen. Plus you have to use your hand in a certain way. Whereas shuffleboard, it's pretty much a standing up, take a couple steps and a gentle push with the
Oh, just
pull.
a gentle push. Okay.
Yeah,
push.
well,
Those
unless
things
you're wanting to
glide
wipe
pretty-
someone out.
Well, what is it called? A disc, or what do you call it?
Yeah, a disc.
disc.
Okay,
right.
so you just push the disc, and is it pretty smooth where you don't have to do a lot of pushing?
No, the
right?
court is dressed prior to people playing. That's something you have to learn how to
Okay,
do.
okay.
And it's called polyglide, and it is just a glide that
Well,
disc
Oh,
goes
how,
down the
how
court.
is it
Well-
treated? What is that? Is it?
It looks like, well, we call it sawdust, or the dressing. But the one thing that is kind of different, well, not only our courts, but they are really fast. But, you know, the other side of that, in fact, someone I read a comment from a bartender in Brooklyn who had introduced shuffleboard into his bar. And he said, you know, shuffleboard is a sport where it's very difficult to be bad at it.
Oh,
And I'd never heard that before, and it kind of took me back. But you think about it, it's kind of true.
oh.
I mean, people come in never having picked up a cue, and they're competitive, you know,
Right
in
off
a
the get-go.
very short period of time.
Okay.
Very-
Well, give me an overall, sort of just a real quick overview. So how does it work?
Well, we had a new couple today come in. So they had contacted one of the members about the times, I guess, not the phone number that we'll give you later, but they came and there they were. I walked in, another lady walked in with me, and they wanted to learn to play, so we each took one of them. It was a husband and wife, and she took the lady down to her end of the court, and I took the gentleman up to mine. And we started by just explaining the court. You know, it's a big diamond, and the diamond at the tip is 10 points. The next two are 8, 7, and then the bottom one is called the kitchen. And
Oh,
that's
they have a kitchen
minus,
too?
minus
Oh, how
10.
funny. Oh, no
Yeah,
kidding.
you wanna-
So
Okay.
we told them that. We said, everything you need is here. That's another nice thing. You don't have to have your own equipment. You just pick up the stick. We got them each a stick, gave them a couple instructions, and played for the next hour. They
Nice.
did very well,
Great.
and they said they're coming back. So I'm happy to
You
hear
know, and I think that is kind of a major point here. I mean, if I had to use one word to describe shuffleboard, it's accessible. I mean, you bring nothing to it.
Right.
You know, everything is there. The only thing we make that you don't wear, I guess, spiked cleats
Sure.
on the court.
Or sandals.
Or sand. Yeah, so closer.
But-
Well, let's take a look. We have some pictures that I'm sure they've been showing, but I just want to take a closer look. So look how shiny those are. They're very shiny.
That's our courts.
Like you said, they're super slick. And the kitchen is which part? That's the base part?
Nearest the
Okay.
disc down there on
Nearest
either
the
side.
disc. Okay, so now as we allude to pickleball having a kitchen as well, although entirely different things here. So here we've got several people playing, which is
Yeah.
great. Now they don't have the numbers in there as to how much they're
they're
so
not.
is there
they're
a
not
cheat
written
sheet or
there.
something?
There's a board along the
Oh,
wall
okay.
that tells.
Okay, good. Now what if someone was in a wheelchair? How would they do it?
I saw somebody play from a wheelchair. They just wheeled them to the base, and they just took their
Oh, good.
stick and
Yeah.
did it. We don't
Okay.
have any members currently with a
No,
wheelchair.
Right.
We have some with canes,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
but
And walkers.
Well,
and
that's
walkers.
great.
You could
And you
easily
couldn't-
do it from with a walker.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, I'm glad you
But-
have that ability, which is nice. Now, I know prior to us having you on, you mentioned that you put out announcements in the Globe. So where do they look for that?
Yeah, it's under the sports section in the, I think it used to be near the rear, now like they're moving it up a little bit.
Okay.
So I write that column. I just, I don't know, for some reason, I got into it, and I started it 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I haven't missed a week in 2 years. And that was a little challenging when there was nothing much going on other than lockdown.
Yeah.
But now that we're back into high gear, right, Laura?
Good. Now, when do
So-
you have meetings, or how does that work?
There's a board.
Okay.
I'm president currently.
Okay.
And John is on the board.
Okay.
And we meet the first Friday of every month, and any member is welcome to come to the meetings. And we, discuss the routine things like maintaining our courts and future events that we want to have. We just had an event last Thursday. It's called the Turkey Shoot. I'm not sure why, except it's
I
between
don't know
Thanksgiving
why.
and Christmas, I guess. And when we do a turkey shoot or another event that we're starting to call Jackpot, we used to call it Zodiac. Now it's going to be Jackpot.
Okay.
You come, and instead of playing by the usual rules, we do funny things. Like one time we put a chair in the center, and you had to get the disc under the
that's
chair.
Right, that's right.
That's
That was a
good.
challenge.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
mix it up. That's awesome.
Or you had to be on the line to score, and
okay.
usually, you're depressed if you get a line every time. So
Yeah.
we discussed those types of things and what kind of foods or beverages we're going to have.
Right.
There's things that come from the village that I get, and if it's something we need to know, like when we were able to quit wearing our mask, when we were actually able to come back.
Yeah.
So and anything anyone else needs to bring up.
Okay.
I wanted to say too, when I picture on the courts, that thing hanging from the ceiling was a heater.
Oh.
And we do have very effective heaters for the winter, and we
Great.
have fans in the summer. So it's really a great year-round thing. There's no sun in your eyes, doesn't get too hot or too
That's
cold.
great. That's
Yeah,
great.
everything is there. I mean, it's a nice, warm, dry place to go out
I
and,
love it.
and do a sport. I mean, what else could you be asking for
I
at this
love
time
it.
of year? I guess now it's supposed to rain next
It
4
is,
out
but
of
you know
5.
what? You are immune to the rain,
That's
so
we
that's
are.
Yes,
really
we
nice
are.
to be able to be
We are.
inside.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to know more about the Shuffleboard Club, how would they find out?
Well, you can read the articles that John puts in, because the number there is my landline.
Okay.
Mine, my husband's, he's a member, and he's our club treasurer.
Okay.
And so we would be happy to talk to people about the club and the best way to come and get your lesson. Anybody can give a lesson. Like today, when those folks came, Janet and I just stepped in. We're a very friendly club. We
Good.
really are. We really want to have new members. We all enjoy each other, and,
Yeah.
and it's just a nice place to be
Good.
for
Yeah.
us.
I love it.
And
well,
it's the starting times are Monday and Tuesday morning at 9:30 and Thursday at 5:30.
okay.
And that's, in the Globe every week, as a reminder, so.
And there's a choice. If you don't have the time to play 2 games, you can just announce when you come in, I can play 1 game today, and then we can make that work. Because you don't have to have 2 people at each end of the court.
Oh.
You can actually play with 3, round robin we call it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Or 2 people can play.
Right.
So we,
Awesome.
no matter what number we end up with, we can make it work.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for the information. We appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for inviting us.
All right. And if you'd like to know more information about the Shuffleboard Club, you can call the number that's on the screen, or you can look out for the advertisement written by John in the Globe each week. We'll be right back. Setting resolutions can help you get off to a good start in 2022. A new year can be the beginning of you making changes and living the way you've always wanted. The beginning of finally achieving all the goals and desires that you have. The common hopes many have every January 1st include getting fit, increasing finances, finding love, dealing with less stress, and achieving happiness. If 2021 wasn't great for you, let that motivate you even more to make 2022 the best year ever. I found several ideas for New Year's resolutions. Some are familiar and others you may not have thought of. So here goes. Be kind. Be a better person with those in your life that you care about. You can look for ways to be kinder to your friends, family, partner, and everyone you come in contact with. Thrive made it their mission for everyone to be kinder. So let's carry that out in 2022. Be on your phone less. While phones can be helpful, they can also be really distracting. Learn to spend less time on your phone and spend more time with people. When you are at the dinner table or lunch table, put your phone away and try to spend more time and be present with the people that you are with. Read more books. Our library is loaded with brand new books. They had more donations this last year than ever before. They have plenty of really great books. So get out there, find a new book, find a new genre, and treat yourself to a new book and take time to read. Learn a new language. Start a new hobby. Be a positive force in the world. I hope these resolutions will help you have a great 2022. Happy New Year. We'll be right back.
Well, our movie for this afternoon is going to be called Deja Vu, and it stars Denzel Washington. It runs a little over 2 hours, 126 minutes. It is rated PG-13, and it's sponsored by Harvard Eye and Associates, great sponsors of ours. And the team of Top Secret Program brings ATF agent Doug Carlin, that's Denzel Washington, into its midst to capture the terrorists. So kind of a thriller, action-packed kind of movie. That's going to be at 2 o'clock with subtitles, and then at 6 o'clock without subtitles. So be sure and tune in for that, our popular movies. We also want to remind you that our resident services is still closed and will be closed probably for the remainder of the week. They did have a kind of a COVID outbreak over there, so they're asking you to please give them a call at 597-4600 or send them an email at residentservices@vmsinc.org. And once this pandemic and some of the issues that we had here in our building and resident services kind of calms down, we'll be sure to let you know that when that facility is open for all of your walk-in traffic. So, we just want to be careful out there, and we don't want to jeopardize any of our residents and any of our staff as well. Well, we do have, our paint and pour. That's going to happen. This is going to be on Monday, January 17th. So be sure and check in with that. You're going to have to send them, an email at recreation@vmsinc.org, or if you want to give them a call at 597-4281. You can purchase your tickets. And this is going to be at Clubhouse 1 in the beautiful art room over there. It's going to be from 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening. And our wonderful Penny Rubin is going to be hosting that. And that is Paint and Pour, and that's going to be on Monday, January 14th. Well, let's take a quick look outside before we let you go. It's going to be another cloudy day. You can see the mountains are losing a little bit of that snow, but still some chilly temperatures over there. But we're going to have a cloudy day most of the day today. And kind of similar temperatures for the next couple of days, 75 today and then 72 and 67 on Monday, and nice temperatures in the 50s. And then our travel weekend weather, you're always going to have some great temperatures here around the beaches. Hey, I think Santa Barbara looks like a great place to head out to and enjoy a nice weekend and have a nice day out there. And if you're heading out to Palm Springs, beautiful temperatures over there, 73 degrees and 56 overnight. Well, we want to thank you for joining us on our program. Enjoy your weekend right here in Laguna Woods Village, and I'm sure we'll see Lisa Hart on our program on Monday, so be sure and tune in for that. I'm Paul Ortiz, and thanks for joining us today.